Hey everybody. Hopefully today should be one of the last days with poor sound quality, but we will see. I may be taking a break for a day or maybe even two because I just got my COVID vaccine, my second shot, and I don't want to get absolutely destroyed. But we'll see. Plus, I've just been playing so much lately that I can feel that I'm building up some fatigue in my lips. Playing felt pretty good today. I played for like an hour and a half, but I'm pretty shot. And that is why I wanted to focus today on kind of warming down, just playing some long tones and really kind of letting it all go. Because warming down is actually a pretty important part, especially if you're playing through some fatigue. Because as you know, when you're tired and you're playing horn or another brass instrument, your technique starts to fade and you basically start muscling a lot of things. And that can leave you kind of tense. And it's no good to stay tense after you finish playing. So a good warm down can really kind of help with that. Basically all I really do is play some long tones. Very, very, very quietly. If there was ever a time for quiet, extremely quiet playing, it's right now. It's also just a good time to practice, your tone quality and your sound production and your air, right? Because even when your notes are quiet, you should still be getting a steady stream of air. And when your lips are tired, that's a good time to really, you don't need to be playing crazy arpeggios up the octave. You can kind of let the lip rest and then just let the air kind of do its work. Because that's what, in a perfect world, you should be doing when you're tired, right? Your technique shouldn't drop, but of course it does. Okay. I'm sort of trying to pay attention to my diaphragm, feeling it kind of produce the power, right? I'm nothing but an accordion. And I'm trying to also envision the note being this perfect kind of long, thin rectangle. And when you're tired and when you're playing these long tones, they're gonna sound wavery. They're not gonna sound completely pure and clean. But just focus on the mechanics, and don't so much worry about what you're hearing. Other than, you don't need to impress anyone. You just need to focus on what you're hearing, to use it to see whether you're doing the right things with your body. But yeah. Take some big breaths too. Because I find that when I'm tired playing, I start breathing from my chest more. And you can tell, right? Bad technique leaves telltale signs across your body. So if you feel that tightness, just acknowledge it, right? It's not going to go away immediately, but now trying to keep the embouchure, even when you're tired, the embouchure consistent across the range, even as you go down. I'm letting myself kind of find that point where, the air can no longer sustain a note. You're hearing, especially on some of those like a little bit more fuzzy notes in general, like the written G below middle C. It's difficult to play them like really focused and quiet. Yeah, see? That's kind of ridiculous, right? Let's see. Which one would be better? This kind of pausing and talking while playing has started to feel pretty natural, I think not in the least because your average horn lesson or sectional rehearsal sort of works this way. As long as your sectional coach is a brass player, it doesn't make sense to just continuously play, right? You sit there and you talk, take a little break, come back to it. You know what I mean? So yeah. Yeah. Another thing that's actually really helpful, even though it can sound a little silly, are sort of vowel-based vocal exercises. Because the natural shape of a lot of vowels fits perfectly with the motions of the human jaw, right? So if your jaw is tight, you're gonna be speaking in this sort of congested tone up here. But if you like, you can let your jaw drop completely and speak in this way. And then there's something in the middle, of course, which is like our normal unaffected speech. But meow, yo, ah, ah, yeah, yeah. Well, along those lines. Along those lines. My Uncle Carl, who played tuba and French horn for many years, mainly tuba, told me about just like, just sitting in the practice room with a book or something else, sitting in front of the TV and just playing long tones just for hours, doing nothing but that. You can do that. You can do little patterns like. Because a little bit of motion can actually be good. Because you can find yourself sort of, if it's like with posture, right? The correct posture isn't completely like this, nor is it slammed back in your chair. It's somewhere in the middle, where you're kind of actively using your muscles, to readjust. You shouldn't be completely ramrod straight all the time. Same thing with this, and with long tones, sometimes you get locked in. you're too concentrated on your breath or whatever, and you're just like you're not in a relaxed place. So actually doing some motion can help, like a little. Something along those lines. Ah, yes. Really low tones are good too, because they eat a lot of air and a lot of like muscle to really control. And they kind of pop out a little better than like the mid-range lower notes. But you have to be really careful that you don't twist your armature. Just like, don't go for like the most, brassy, ripped sound you can down there. Just whatever comes out with your standard armature, let that be what comes out. Yeah. And I'll probably do about 10 minutes more with this, but I'm going to cut this short for now. Goodbye.